You're listening to TVOM Maldives Shortwave Radio. This is Pastor Eric Foley from Voice of the Martyrs, Korea. There are followers of Jesus all around the world, even inside the Maldives. And this broadcast is intended to bring encouragement to those Christians and also to bring hope to those who may not yet know Christ. In the Bible, Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." Tune in every day at the same time to hear content in both Tibetan and English about the truth of Jesus Christ.
Today we're going to listen to part 5 of the story of Jesus Christ in the David He language. This comes from the Gospel of Mark, and we're almost to the end of the story. Tomorrow you'll listen to part 6. Now we know that the end of the Gospel of Mark talks about the suffering and death and resurrection, the coming back to life of Jesus Christ for the forgiveness of our sins according to the Old Testament scriptures. But before we get to all those parts of the story, in today's lesson, we see that Jesus spends a few moments with his disciples. And what they're doing is they're looking at the temple in Jerusalem. The temple is the holy place of worship for the Jewish people. So Jesus spent a lot of time in the temple teaching and doing other things. And today they were outside of the temple looking at the temple. And the disciples said to Jesus, "The temple is so beautiful. Wow, just take a look at the temple, Jesus. It's amazing. It's a sign of God's favor. Wow." Now, the temple was, in fact, beautiful. Many people have written about this. We know that King Herod was in the midst of rebuilding the temple, and he was using something called a white Jerusalem stone, and these stones were gorgeous. So if you were a visitor to Jerusalem and you were coming on a very sunny day, you could see the sun hitting these stones and glistening, and so if you saw that, it was just amazing. And that's what the disciples were commenting on. They were saying, "Jesus, this is amazing." And Jesus says something very shocking to the disciples. He told them it's all going to be destroyed. Every single stone will be torn down. And that is, in fact, what happened. Only 40 years later, General Titus and the Romans totally destroyed the temple. Many Jewish people died. Others were sold into slavery. And the only thing that remains of the temple now is what's called the Western Wall. So if you go to Jerusalem, you could see the Western Wall and see many Jewish people still praying at that wall. Now, as Jesus and his disciples were looking at the temple, and Jesus told them it was going to be destroyed, the disciples said, "Well, when is this going to happen?" And the disciples